There are things people will never say to your face, but you can feel it. The way women stare a little too long. The way men get louder, more nervous when you walk in. The way silence follows you like a shadow. You don't ask for attention, but you get it. You don't chase respect, but it finds you. And whether people admit it or not, your presence unsettles them because you're different. This video isn't about the obvious. It's about the hidden. The signs most people notice about you, but will never speak out loud. The secret markers that reveal you're not just attractive, you're dangerously attractive. Stay right here, because once you see these 8 hidden signs, you'll never look at yourself or the way people react to you the same way again. Sign 1. Men grow uneasy around you without knowing why. Ever notice how some men puff up around you for no reason? The fake laugh, the louder voice, the way they suddenly start competing over who's got the better job, the better car, the better story. They don't even realize they're doing it. But you do. You see it. You feel it. That's the Sigma effect. Here's the truth. Most men spend their lives broadcasting value. They talk big, show off, chase approval like it's an. They need the room to validate them. But when you walk in, you don't play that game. You don't need the spotlight. And that makes other men uneasy. Why? Because you become a memer. Without trying, you expose them. You make them realize how much effort they're wasting just to be noticed. While you get noticed by doing nothing. Your silence, your calm, your refusal to compete on their terms, it forces them to see themselves. And a man seeing himself clearly, that's terrifying. Picture this, a poker table. 10 men around it, talking, bluffing, flexing their hands with nervous grins. Then you walk in, sit down, say nothing. No jokes, no need to prove yourself. You just study the cards, study the players. Suddenly the table feels different. The noise drops half a decibel. Why? Because your presence alone changed the stakes. That's what happens everywhere you go. The Sigma doesn't just enter a room, he shifts it. And other men, whether they admit it or not, feel it in their gut. Some will get defensive. They'll challenge you. They'll test your confidence with small jabs, trying to see if you flinch. And when you don't, when you meet their eyes with that steady calm, they'll back down, though they'll never admit it. Others will overcompensate, bragging louder, chasing harder, trying to reassert themselves in a hierarchy they can feel slipping away. And here's the thing, you don't have to fight them. You don't have to prove anything. Your refusal to even enter the game is what makes you powerful. They're boxing shadows, and the shadow never swings back. This unease men feel around you, it's not hatred, it's not jealousy, it's recognition. Somewhere inside, they know they're in the presence of someone who doesn't bend, doesn't beg, doesn't need the crumbs they've been chasing, and that unsettles them more than any insult or fist ever could. But this is also why you attract loyalty. The men who aren't intimidated, they respect you. They recognize the strength in silence, the power in restraint. They may not say it out loud, but they'll trust you more than the loudest man in the room. That's the paradox of being a highly attractive Sigma male. You don't have to win dominance games because you already stepped outside the arena. And when you refuse to play, men who've built their lives on games don't know what to do with you. It's not your words. It's not your posture. It's not even your achievements. It's something deeper. A weight, a presence, a calm refusal to seek approval. That's why men grow uneasy around you. Not because you're against them, but because you've outgrown the game they're trapped inside. And once you realize this, you stop apologizing for the unease. You stop dimming your presence just to make them comfortable. You understand that their discomfort isn't your problem, it's their reflection. And that reflection is exactly why you only keep 2 or 3 true friends. Because most men can't handle standing in that mirror for long. Sign 2. Your absence feels louder than their presence. There's a strange thing about you. When you walk into a room, people notice. Maybe not immediately, maybe not in a fireworks kind of way. But eventually, they feel you. The air shifts, conversations bend. And when you leave, that's when it hits them. Your absence is louder than the presence of the very people still standing there. Why? Because you're not filler, you're not background noise. You're not one of the dozens trying to be seen. You're the anomaly. The quiet anomaly people remember even when you're gone. Think about it. Most men have to shout to be remembered. They tell louder jokes, buy louder cars, post louder photos. But you? You leave a mark without even trying. You can leave a party early, and the next morning someone will say, "Hey, where did he go?" They won't even realize why they noticed your absence. But they do. It's not about charisma. It's not about charm. It's about weight. You carry a kind of gravity with you, and when gravity steps out of the room, people feel lighter, but not in a good way. More like something important just disappeared. And here's the part they won't tell you. This is what makes you highly attractive, because human beings are wired to chase what they can't fully grasp. Your presence plants questions in their heads, and your absence turns those questions into obsessions. Women feel this especially. They'll replay moments with you in their minds. The way you looked at them, not for validation, but like you were already seeing through them. The way you weren't desperate for attention, yet attention bent toward you anyway. When you're gone, it doesn't fade. It echoes. And men feel it too. They might not admit it, but when you leave, the dynamics shift. Someone tries to fill your place, tells more stories, laughs too loud, acts bigger. But deep down, they know it's forced. They know the room doesn't feel the same. This is the paradox of the Sigma male. You don't fight to be remembered. You're remembered precisely because you don't fight. You live in a way that makes others wonder about you, and people wonder more when you're not there than when you are. Here's the thing most don't get. Presence isn't about volume. It's about authenticity. It's about being so grounded, so unapologetically yourself, that the room adjusts around you. And once you leave, that grounding disappears. The energy feels unstable. This is why you don't need dozens of friends. You don't need a tribe to validate your existence. You already shift the air around you. And only 2 or 3 people in your life will be able to handle the weight of that without resenting it. The rest, they'll either envy it or they'll exhaust themselves trying to match it. And that's why you walk away, not with bitterness, not with regret, just with clarity, because you know this. If your absence feels louder than another man's presence, then you don't need to stay to prove a thing. You are the reminder. You are the echo. You are the one they'll talk about after the crowd has gone quiet. And that, more than anything, is the hidden sign of a highly attractive Sigma male. Sign 3. Women test you and always fail. Attraction isn't always soft smiles and sweet words. Sometimes attraction comes with fire, with tension, with games. And if you've noticed women testing you, poking at you, pushing your boundaries, that's not disrespect. That's desire. Here's the secret. Women only test men they find intriguing. They only push the ones they're secretly hoping will push back. With ordinary men, they don't waste their time. They smile, they nod, and then they move on. But with you, they can't help themselves. It starts small. She might tease you, waiting to see if you break character. She might act cold, trying to pull a reaction from you. She might drop a flirt and then pull back, just to watch your response. For most men, this is a trap. They overcompensate. They chase harder. They crack under pressure. But you're different. You don't chase. You don't beg. You don't lose your balance just because she's testing the waters. You stand where you are, calm as a rock in the tide. And when she realizes that her little games don't shake you, something happens inside her. The frustration turns into fascination. Because what she's really testing isn't your humor or your looks or your charm. She's testing your strength. She wants to know, does this man bend when I push? Or is he unshakable? And when you show her, not by words, but by simply refusing to crumble, she feels something she rarely feels with men: respect. This is why women are drawn to the Sigma male, often against their own logic. You don't play the approval game. You don't melt under their beauty. You don't lose yourself just to keep them comfortable. And that refusal is magnetic. Most men will never understand this. They think the path to attraction is endless giving, endless pleasing. But you've learned the forbidden truth. The more you bend, the less she values you. The more you stand firm, the more she tests, and the more she respects. And when she finally realizes she can't break you, that's when the game ends. That's when attraction transforms into something deeper. Because deep down, every woman craves a man who cannot be controlled. And that's you. Sign 4. Strangers confide in you without knowing why. There's a strange pattern in your life. People you just met, people who barely know you, end up telling you things they've never told anyone else. Secrets, regrets, dreams they've kept buried. And when they finish, they look at you almost embarrassed, like, why did I just say that to you? This isn't coincidence. This is the Sigma effect. You carry an energy that's rare, a mix of calmness and intensity. You're not loud. You're not trying to prove yourself. But your presence tells people, I see you, and I'm not here to judge. That combination disarms them. Most men make others feel small, either by arrogance or insecurity. But you create space. You listen. You don't interrupt with fake advice or self-centered stories. You let silence stretch until the other person fills it with something real. And people feel that. They sense that you're not like the others, that you're not going to use their words against them. So they give you parts of themselves they don't share anywhere else. Women feel it the strongest. They find themselves confessing their fears, their heartbreaks, their secret desires. And even though they can't explain it, they feel safe around you. Not because you're soft, but because you're steady. You don't flinch. You don't recoil. You absorb it like a wall built to carry weight. Men feel it too, though they'll never admit it. A guy might tell you about his failures, his doubts, the cracks in his armor, things he'd never share with the crowd, because even he knows. You're not there to mock him, but you're not there to pity him either. You're just there. And that presence is rare. This is another hidden sign of your attractiveness. People don't bear themselves to someone they don't trust. They bear themselves to someone who has a gravity they can't resist. And you? You don't even ask for it. You just live in such a way that people feel the need to hand you their truth. That's power. Quiet, invisible power. Sign 5. You inspire respect. Without lifting a finger, respect is a battlefield. Most men are out there swinging swords, desperate to earn it. They posture, they brag, they try to dominate with volume and force. But the harder they fight, the more pathetic it looks. You don't fight for respect. You don't even ask for it. And that's exactly why you get it. It comes from the way you carry yourself. Calm, unhurried, unshaken. You don't need to inflate your value because you already know it. And that confidence, the kind that doesn't need an audience, radiates. People pick up on it, even if they can't explain why. It's in the way men choose their words carefully around you, without realizing it. It's in the way women listen when you speak, even when you say very little. It's in the way people notice your silence more than they notice others' noise. True respect doesn't come from forcing people to bow. It comes from making them want to. And you do that by existing in a way that reminds them of their own compromises. See? Your independence unsettles people. Your refusal to bend makes them question how much they've bent in their own lives. And deep down, they respect you for it. They may not say it, they may never admit it, but they feel it. That's why even men who don't like you won't cross certain lines with you. That's why women who barely know you instinctively treat you differently. You've mastered the art of commanding respect without lifting a finger. And that, more than any flex, any brag, any loud display, is what makes you magnetic. Sign 6. You carry darkness without being consumed by it. People sense something about you. They can't put it into words, but it lingers in the air when you walk into a room. It's not danger exactly. It's not sadness either. It's something deeper. Darkness. Not the kind that destroys, the kind that survives. You've lived through things most men couldn't handle. Betrayal, pain, loss. You've seen shadows that broke others, but you didn't break. You carried the weight, and you turned it into strength. And now, without flaunting it, you wear that darkness like an invisible scar. People feel it in your eyes, in your silence, in the way you move. You don't have to tell your story. They just know you have one. This is why people find you attractive. Not because you're perfect, but because you're real. Depth is magnetic, and your depth comes from the fact that you've wrestled with demons and walked away standing. Women sense it most. They can feel that you're not naive, not blind to the world's cruelty, that you've seen its teeth, and yet you remain calm. That balance between shadow and light fascinates them, because it means you're strong enough to protect, but wise enough to understand. Men feel it too, though differently. Around you, they're careful. They sense that you've been through battles they can't imagine. They might not know the details, but they respect the weight of it. The truth? Darkness is part of what makes you magnetic. You're not a shining knight pretending the world is pure. You're a survivor who knows the truth and still chooses to walk forward. That balance, carrying darkness without letting it consume you, is rare. And it's one of the clearest hidden signs that you're a highly attractive Sigma male. Sign 8. Silence works in your favor. Most men can't stand silence. They fill it with noise, endless chatter, nervous laughter, anything to avoid the weight of nothingness. They think silence exposes them, makes them look weak. But you weaponize silence. This is one of the most overlooked, hidden signs of a highly attractive Sigma male. You don't rush to fill the air. You don't scramble to prove you're interesting. You're perfectly fine letting a pause hang, letting others fidget in the discomfort while you sit there calm, unbothered. And here's what most people never realize. Silence isn't emptiness. Silence is pressure. And the one who controls silence controls the room. Picture this. You're in a group. A conversation is flying around. Jokes, bragging, interruptions. Everyone's competing for space. And then someone throws a question at you. Instead of blurting out an answer like the rest, you pause. You let the quiet stretch just enough. Suddenly, everyone's eyes are on you. Without saying a word, you've shifted the rhythm. You own the moment. That's the power of your silence. It's not weakness. It's dominance without effort. It forces people to lean in, to wait, to anticipate. Women find it magnetic because it makes you unpredictable. Men find it unsettling because they can't read what's going on inside your head. And here's the kicker. People reveal themselves in silence. They grow uncomfortable, and in their need to fill the void, they overshare, they stumble, they expose. You don't even have to try. They hand you pieces of themselves while you sit back in control. This is why your silence is so attractive. It communicates confidence louder than words ever could. It says, I don't need to perform. I don't need to prove myself. I'm already enough. And women, they can't resist it. A man who doesn't rush, who isn't desperate to impress, who holds himself steady in silence, that man feels rare, dangerous even, because he's not begging for attention, yet somehow he has all of it. Men feel it too. They'll laugh louder, talk faster, try harder, anything to break the spell of your calm. They don't even realize what they're doing, but they're reacting to you, to your silence. And here's the final truth. Silence exposes power. Words can be faked. Stories can be embellished. But silence? Silence is pure. And only the man who truly knows himself can hold it without breaking. You are that man. And whether people admit it or not, they feel it every time you let the world go quiet. That's why silence doesn't make you invisible. It makes you unforgettable. Now you know the truth. Being a Sigma male isn't about chasing crowds or proving yourself louder than the next guy. It's about silence that carries weight, presence that lingers, and attraction that speaks when you don't. So here's my challenge to you. Look at your own life. Count how many real friends you have. Count how many people respect you without you asking. And count how many times your silence said more than your words ever could. That's the measure of your strength. If this video hit you in the gut, if it exposed things you felt but never had the words for, then don't just scroll away. Join this circle. Hit subscribe. Drop a comment below with one word. Sigma. That way, I'll know you're one of the rare ones. Because the truth is simple. Most men will never get it. But you just did.